So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Galaxy S26 Ultra versus Google Pixel 10 Pro XL speed test. Let's go ahead and begin with a boot up in 3, 2, go, and see which one can get there first. Now, I didn't make this right away because I was even thinking, should we make the Pixel versus the Galaxy, since it's usually not always the quickest, but one thing it does do really well is boot up fast. It boots up extremely quick. And we're going to wait around a little bit for the Galaxy S26 Ultra to get booted into the device. However, we do have the Tensor G5 chip over here on the right. We also do have 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is up for the AI purposes. Over here on the Galaxy, you have to go to 1 terabyte, I believe, to get the 16 gig. So over here on the Galaxy S26 Ultra here, we have the 256 gig model with 12 gigabytes of RAM. And so this one also has the 8 Elite Gen 5 for Galaxy on board with One UI 8.5, Android 16, the Google UI on board right there. When it comes to unlocking these two phones, we do have in-display fingerprint sensors. You'll see them there on the lock screen. When I go ahead and hold down, you'll see they both tend to unlock at about the same speed. However, their animations are a bit different the way they actually look when coming in. They actually have like the opposite look. Let me go ahead and pull this brightness down a little bit. I don't know why it's so bright over there, but when you go ahead and unlock the phone, you'll see over here on the Galaxy, it kind of flies up at you. And on the Pixel, it kind of does the same thing, but just has like this little animation effect. So they just look a little bit different when unlocking, but generally kind of the same overall experience there. Both of them also do have the ability to face unlock if you'd like to use that. You just kind of look at the phone and you're going to get right into the device very easily. And I have the swipe on the Pixel, but you could actually disable that swipe mechanism and it could be just about as fast. Now, we all know that these phones these days are super quick, but generally operating across the system, I do find that Samsung's One UI 8.5 seems to run along a little bit faster. It just seems like it's super speedy this time around versus some of the competition. So when you're kind of just flying through different pages, everything you do, I was trying to click those dots at the bottom, and everything you kind of just do on the day-to-day, it's just super speedy to get through everything. So if you're looking for just raw speed, the Galaxy S26 Ultra should be very high on your list. Over here on the Google Pixel, if I go ahead and swipe through here, you can see it runs along fast, but it kind of has a little bit of a slower, smoother look. You can still pull down the trays rather fast. That's pretty quick. Going right here, this is also relatively fast as well. But I do sense just a little bit of a smoother effect here on the Pixel. I'm not saying it's smoother than the Galaxy, but like the way it's tuned, it looks like it's trying to be smooth and fast. Galaxy looks like it's just pure speed right here, mostly to me, except for the animations. They are non-linear. We'll see that in a minute. But generally, general operating systems, I would say that both of them feel very fast just day to day, but Galaxy seems to be a little bit snappier to me in my day-to-day use. All right, guys, so we've arrived at the app test. Everything closed out for both phones. Let's go into calendars on both, and the Galaxy's calendar launched first. We'll go into clock right here, and that was faster again for the Galaxy. As we go through different submenus, you'll see that they kind of pop open at the same time. But what's nice is that both of these are extremely different looking. So it's nice to have options. Like their calculator design looks different. Their clock app looks different. Let's go into Play Store. You'll see slightly quicker to launch there on the Galaxy. And you're gonna notice that across the board that everything just seems a hair quicker there on the Galaxy. And those little hairs, they do add up throughout the day to give you definitely a better, faster experience on the Galaxy. Also, I find that in the animations, that the Pixel tends to have a little bit of a choppier looking animation. You'll see that in RAM management in a minute. We'll go into Gemini. That's faster on neither, pretty much the same. And they fixed that app. It definitely works really well right now. Copilot faster on the left. Groupon, a little bit faster there on the left. We'll hit categories and looking pretty good so far on both phones. So let's go into Instagram on both phones. We'll go over to my profile page. You'll see the Galaxy running along a little bit faster. I do think sometimes that the Pixel's photos tend to turn out better for Instagram. But one of the things I'm noticing right here when just kind of like comparing these side by side is that the Google Pixel looks like I can't get why sometimes the price is what it is, because when you look at it next to an Ultra, while the Ultra is a little bit more, it does seem like a much bigger phone. This kind of feels smaller. This looks more like the Galaxy S26 Plus's size, maybe even slightly smaller. We'll have to see if we did a comparison there. But let's go into Google News here. And we'll scroll over here. We'll scroll over here and we'll go over into technology because that's what we're going to read about. We'll go ahead and scroll through here. And both of them do have very, very fast scrolling if you want. Now, when I scroll slower, they tend to move along at the same pace. Funny enough, the Pixel does actually have the better overall resolution, just simply because the phone itself is on a smaller screen, slightly smaller, but high resolution. It does have very high pixels per inch. We'll go ahead and hit here. We'll hit play. But the Galaxy S26 Ultra does have that innovative privacy display that some people definitely really like. Some people think it's a gimmick. Let's go into Subway Surfers on both, and we'll see what happens here. Pulling ahead there on the Galaxy, and there we go. So the Galaxy did win that test. Once you're in Subway Surfer City, you're going to see pretty fun to play. Overall, very quick on both. Very casual game. Definitely a quick stress reliever type game. You could definitely just kind of run along, see if you can collect the most you can collect. Pretty fun. Let's go ahead and swipe up out of there. And these things are going to tear through some casual games. I already opened all these apps. I don't know why we're getting these pop-ups again on the notifications for these apps. I run them before I make the video. But then when I get in the video, they start asking all these questions again. Let's go ahead and go into Free Fire. And we'll see what happens here for Free Fire. Now, Free Fire is pretty well optimized for both Android and iOS, but it seems that it tends to load pretty quick on Android devices. But you'll see right here, it's going to win on the Galaxy. Also, the thermals are better on the Galaxy phone. They have a larger vapor chamber. Plus, they have a stronger GPU. So if you do plan to do gaming pretty regularly, it's no doubt about it, you should probably pick the Galaxy. Now, if you're going to pick the Pixel, you'll probably want it for more of a minimal UI for AI at its core. But I mean, the Galaxy is also getting really good AI at its core as well. They're actually pushing this as more of an AI Galaxy phone. So that's not really a huge win for Google's Pixel. But if you like the way Google does their AI, you probably will like that more. And after all, they are the ones making Gemini and all that. So the Pixel's still a really good Google phone if you're heavy into the Google services. But I think for pure gaming and performance, it's looking like the Galaxy is the better option here. You'll see right here the Asphalt Legends on the left pulling ahead once again. Concurrent access detected. So it's going to close that page out. Let's go into 3D Mark. And you'll see it launches a little bit faster there on the Galaxy. Their battery life is actually the same right now. I wonder what's happening here on the Pixel. Didn't even launch that app. Oh, there it goes. Took forever. Let's go into Geekbench 6. And faster on the Galaxy, and speed test faster on the Pixel, and InShot faster on the Galaxy by a hair. Overall, I think the Galaxy took this test right here for sure. It seems to launch a little bit quicker, and I turned off the beast mode settings. I just put it back to default for this test. But the Pixel is really right there. One of the things I always tell people in my videos is that, while a lot of people know that they're not the top chip, it's a well-optimized phone. So the Pixel still feels like flagship performance for most everyday tasks. It literally never really slows down. It just doesn't feel quite as blazing quick as like a Galaxy S26 Ultra or even like a 17 Pro Max. Let's go ahead and do the RAM management now. All right, guys, so we're going to go through these applications to see how they do with the RAM management. And you could see I do have the bottom gesture enabled from GoodLock on the Galaxy, and it allows me to fly through these apps. And I mean, look at this performance. This is just phenomenal. That's why I'm saying that the Galaxy is probably the phone to pick if you're a heavy user. We'll go over there, and then you could see if I go through here, and then you can see if I go over here, everything holds very well in the background. I mean, it doesn't even matter if I split screen, it's still going to hold it very well, no issues. So this phone right here, absolute monster performer. You don't really get too many hiccups or delays. Let's go over here to the Pixel now, and I'm not saying the Pixel will delay either. Let's see how it does. It should be great with its 16 gigs of RAM, but are you noticing what I was talking about earlier? The animation looks a little jumpy. I don't know what it is. You seen that? Like, what's that blink? It does like this little blink, and sometimes when it's coming out, it looks like it's kind of like jumping out of the app instead of being like a smooth, continuous motion. So I think they can work on their animations here. It just looks stuttery, like it's stuttering down out of the animation. I don't love it. So I do think other competitors have surpassed the Pixel and have been ahead of the Pixel for a while when it comes to animation. So I think Google should work on those for the next Pixel device. This one definitely held everything, so I can't really say it lost, but in terms of the actual look, I do prefer to recommend the Galaxies on this one. But there are phones that actually I think have even smoother animations than that too. So I'm not saying like that's the best one. I'm just saying that between these two, that's going to take the win in the looks department. But both of them could hold the apps, no problem. This one of the benefits of having 16 gigs of RAM is that it doesn't really need to close stuff in the background. Yes, it'll pause your game. It will pause or reload a feed if you're in like Instagram or something like that, because you're in a constantly refreshing feed. But generally, it won't really close things. So that's good. That's definitely a good thing right there. I don't know what the heck that was right there, but definitely it's pretty decent. And the final scores are in for Geekbench, and you could see a pretty substantial lead in the single core, over 1,000 points, and multi-core, 50% higher. So this is pretty evident which phone is going to give you the more performance. This is why I'm saying when you're paying over $1,000 for a phone, I think it's pretty clear which one is going to give you the more performance. But that doesn't mean it's the better phone for you, because performance can only take you so far if you're not really utilizing it. So if you're not, using the Galaxy to its potential, you might only need what the Pixel is giving you. And if you like the software more and it flows better with your day-to-day, then the Pixel is going to be the better option, regardless of the fact that the Galaxy does stomp on it in terms of GPU and CPU scores. So let's go ahead and see what we can get on that GPU here in 3D Mark. We'll see what kind of frame rates we're pulling in. I can already see right there, almost doubling it there on over the Pixel on the Galaxy. So again, if I was playing some serious gaming on Android, I'm going to go with Galaxy here. But we'll go ahead and see how strong the Pixel does perform here. And you can see here in Wildlife Extreme, we have scored a 6315 on my Google Pixel 10 Pro XL, just a 3245. So yeah, those frame rates substantially higher, 37.82, 19.43. And then you could see the Pixel scoring better than 64% of devices, and the Galaxy 96. And you might be scratching your head wondering, well, why would someone get a Pixel then? Well, it's pretty simple, because it runs the Google software, because it's a beautiful design, a beautiful camera, great battery life, and it has really consistent and long-term software support. You also get long-term software support, but I think you get those updates quicker on the Pixel. Let's go ahead now and take a look at the speed test net. This is just going to be internet performance, so we should actually get just about the same type of download speeds here on both, but you never know, because the Galaxy tends to really do pretty well here, usually outshining the competing phone in my tests. So we're getting about 375 down. I just want to make sure my Pixel is on the same server before we go ahead and do this test. You'll see 41 on the upload and 412 downloads. So not my best scores ever, but we'll go ahead and see what we're capable of here on the Pixel. One thing I am noticing is these phones have been draining battery in this video at the exact same rate, like literally the exact same. Like they're both at 52. They've been kind of losing the same percentages this entire time, but you'll see the Galaxy was able to pull in more download speed. They're calling that a high score for my Pixel. I haven't done a speed test in a while, so of course it's going to give me a high score, but it's still lower than that of the Galaxy right there. That's just a high score for this device, but it's still lost in this test. And the last thing I want to do is go ahead and do a quick camera launch test here. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to lower the brightness a little bit because I think it's a little bit too bright there. Let's go ahead and do that. And let's go ahead and launch the cameras. Hold on. Why is that that icon like that? Hold on. I think it shows the recent apps in the dock. So let's go ahead and put the camera there. And we'll go in 3, 2, go. And the Pixel launches that camera quicker. Let's go ahead and tap that photo. Also seems to take that photo faster. So yeah, I'd pick the Pixel for speed of launching and getting that photo done. That Galaxy was definitely slower there. When it comes to zooming, both of these, not the smoothest zoom I've seen. But I do like the high-res AI zooming on the Pixel. But if you want more of a hardware type zoom, you might want to look at some other options to try both of these, because both of these are using some AI processing to make the images look a little bit better. If you want more of a hardware base, you might want to look at some of the Chinese offerings out there that do give you the much larger sensors and stuff like that. But anyway, wrapping it up here, The Galaxy has won this test, as you might have predicted from the very get-go, but the Pixel, I feel like it doesn't really hang here. It does. I mean, in real-world practice, day-to-day, regular tasks, even mid-range phones can do it, but at the price of a XL Pro, like we really need Pixel to step it up with the chip, man. Let's just put this thing at the same level as the iPhone Max and the Galaxy, because I feel like it is trying to hit the same customer or get the same customer. So why not just put the 8 Elite, imagine the 8 Elite Gen 5 for Pixel. You know, that would just be insane performance on this minimal software. I'm waiting to see the day. I think we are going to see it. I think we're going to see the top chip eventually in the Pixel. But if you found this video entertaining, informative, enjoyable, click the like button for me. Subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for the next battle, the next comparison or review. I look forward to seeing you then. Nick here. Be sure to be well. Have a great day, and peace.